Hold, please. So Mika and Joe went down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring. It's the last time I ever watched Morning Joe. Period. End of statement. Unreal. Unreal. For months you were telling us he's the worst thing that could happen to this country and democracy. And then you go kiss his ring? Despicable. Despicable you. Both of you.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I think that we are witnessing retribution, guys. And Trump doesn't even have to do anything to get his retribution, okay? Because these liberal media outlets that have spent the last 8 years attacking Trump relentlessly, unfairly, okay, contributing to political violence in this country, the chaos, the hate, the division. It seems as if karma is a bitch, okay? That's the best way that I can describe it at this point, okay? That seems to be what is happening, okay? Because we could be seeing the end of certain cable networks, news networks, like, for example, MSNBC. And no, this is not an exaggeration video. Like, I'm so serious that we could be witnessing the end of MSNBC as we know it, okay? Because Comcast has announced that they are spinning off their cable channels, MSNBC, CNBC, and more, into a separate entity. And the reason why they're doing this is because they're making it clear they want to get out of the cable business, okay? The cable news business is what we call a maturing business, right? It's already in the maturity phase of the business model. And after the maturity phase, it goes into decline, right? And MSNBC, certainly at this point after the election, is declining.
Comcast, the parent company of this network, expected to announce today that it's spinning off its NBC Universal cable networks, including this one. Joining us right now, Rich Greenfield, partner and co-founder of Lightshed Partners. Good morning to you. You know, this was a possibility in the offing just a couple of weeks ago. It now seems like it is in the offing. I'm curious about your reaction.
Well, I mean, I have two major reactions. One, this is sort of a very clear, direct statement by Comcast and its, controlling shareholder and Brian Roberts. Like, they are exiting the cable network business. Like, this is them saying, we don't want to be in this business. This is no longer a growth business. It's going to be around for a long time, but it is just no longer a growth business. So I think it's interesting. Everyone was looking at, Disney's going to get rid of her. I think this is a pretty big statement from Comcast that they're exiting the traditional basic cable network business.
And what you said that you had two big thoughts. So that's one. What's two?
Well, the other one really concerns you and everyone else at this network and MSNBC and USA. Can these networks stand on their own? Is news, you think about the power of news and the impact news has. I mean, every trading desk around the world is watching this right now. Like, can news, and obviously USA with some sports, not a lot. I mean, they have SmackDown from WWE. They have some golf. They have, there is stuff, but there is not a lot of sports. Can those networks stand on their own? And we're going to learn. I think there's probably a lot of skepticism among investors. They like the fact that Comcast is getting out of this. I mean, first, they like it because at the end of the day, it's a very bright signal that Comcast is not about to go buy WBD and then go buy more cable networks. Like, this is them saying, we don't want to be in the cable network business, and showing investors what they don't want anymore.
Yeah, so the parent company of MSNBC does not want the network anymore, along with a bunch of other networks that are in decline, right? Because cable news is in decline. Now, they're going to spin it off into a separate entity that's going to stand on its own. I believe that entity will be publicly traded. And if it is, I'm probably going to short it, right? I'm going to short MSNBC, which will be fun to do, okay? I'm going to make a whole lot of money off of MSNBC's decline. I'm just saying, because they are bleeding viewers, okay? MSNBC, the network overall, they're losing viewers, but one show in particular, right? They are really losing viewers, okay? Yesterday we covered this, okay? Joe Scarborough, losing viewers as a result of them coming out and kissing the ring of Trump, right? They went to Mar-a-Lago and said, hey, we were wrong. We're going to bend the knee. Okay, we're going to try not to be so Trump deranged. And this is their reaction to the news that their network is being spun off into a separate entity to sink or swim on its own. Take a look.
Right, time now for a look at some of the other stories making headlines this morning. Comcast, which owns our parent company, NBC Universal, plans to spin off its cable TV networks. That's according to the Wall Street Journal and people familiar with the situation. The company will separate off entertainment and news channels, including MSNBC, CNBC, USA, Oxygen, E, Sci-Fi, and the Golf Channel.
So it's spinning off.
The new cable venture will reportedly have an ownership structure that mirrors Comcast's. Comcast spokesperson declined to comment.
So Willie, as you look at the screen right there, the big concern that stockholders right now on Wall Street are wondering about before they decide what to do with Comcast shares is whether Mika is going to have to give up her penthouse perch atop the Comcast building.
Since I never had it.
When are we going to get invited to the penthouse?
Never. They never let us up. I will say really quickly on this, you know, a Drudge at the top said, oh, like news meltdown, all this other stuff. I mean, I could be completely wrong. We could all be fired a year from now or whenever this happens. You never know what's going to happen.
Or tomorrow.
But in this case, though, Willie, what they're doing is what other media firms are doing. You spin off the cable channels, which 7 years ago were making a ton of money. Now they've got to figure out how to make them profitable. Disney, which by the way, huge media news, Disney has figured out now how to make streaming profitable. Peacock had an extraordinary success in the Olympics. So they're talking about spinning this off. Comcast still owns, I think Brian Roberts still owns a third of that. And because Comcast didn't jump into the bidding war like everybody else, throwing stupid money at streaming services and then watch it flop. Comcast has a ton of cash. So now they spin this off and they're in a position to what do you all say? To get a lot of
Consolidate.
Consolidate, but also to just ramp up. And so you get a lot of people, a lot of different channels together. And so whatever that entity is going to be, there'll probably be a lot of cable channels, and they'll be in a much better position to scale it.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Now, Mika and Joe were low-key joking about being fired, okay, losing their jobs. But I honestly think that joke came from a place of fear that, yeah, they could lose their jobs because the rate at which they're losing viewers would suggest that they're probably on the chopping block, okay? And I would guess that a lot of these individuals are on the chopping block. But let's read here. MSNBC's Morning Joe notched some of its worst ratings for the year on Tuesday, a day after host Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski revealed on air they had met with President-elect Donald Trump last Friday. The 6 a.m. hour of the program brought in 839,000 total viewers and 113,000 viewers in the key 25-54 age demographic on Monday, during which the hosts discussed their meeting that prompted a swift backlash from diehard Trump critics. So during that hour, you had people dropping off, right? Dropping off from the program, right? From the show, say, hey, we don't really want to watch it anymore. The same hour on Tuesday had dropped to 680 total viewers with 76,000 in the demo. Tuesday program overall saw an 11% drop in total viewers and a 12% drop in demo viewers from Monday. Compared to the program's average viewership for 2024, Tuesday's show was down some 38% in total viewers and 37% in the demo. The show, which runs for 4 hours from 6 to 10 a.m., also saw its third lowest rated telecast in the third and fourth hour for the entire year. Yeah, so again, an absolute disaster, an epic disaster for Morning Joe. But it's not just Morning Joe. All In with Chris Haynes also saw its lowest rated episodes in the demo in nearly 10 years. Chris Haynes' program brought in its lowest demo rating since June of 2015 on Tuesday night. Meanwhile, Nicole Wallace's Deadline, White House, and Chris Jansen's daytime news program also struggle in the demo, with the latter seeing its lowest demo rating ever. Okay, wow. I want to know what Joy Reid is pulling in, right? What does Joy Reid get? I guarantee you her ratings are disastrous as well, too. Okay, so what is now happening at MSNBC is that staffers are in panic. Okay, they're in panic over this spinoff, and that the channel could possibly change its name. Okay, so you could possibly see MSNBC be rebranded into a whole nother channel, right? So that is what could happen, okay? And in my estimation, that's the only way they're going to be able to rid themselves of the stench of the last 8 years of Trump derangement, because they've lost their liberal audience. Conservatives are not going to watch them at all. So they're probably going to have to end up rebuilding the cable channel from the ground up, which means basically getting rid of all the talent there, right? Everybody, and bringing in a whole new suite of individuals and rebranding the whole channel, new hosts, new goals, right? New journalists, and I don't know, maybe actually becoming a news channel, right? Instead of a commentary channel, right? Because at this point, MSNBC is just a glorified YouTube channel. Panic engulfed MSNBC headquarters on Wednesday after parent company Comcast confirmed a massive spinoff of its cable properties, with a top executive even suggesting the left-leaning network may be forced to change its name. MSNBC stars Rachel Maddow, Chris Jansen, and Katie Tur joined a tense 10 a.m. meeting at 30 Rock in Midtown, led by NBC Universal chairman Mark Lazarus, who will lead the new company, sources told the Post. Staffers, fearing looming layoffs, pepper him with questions about if the network will need to change its name, logos, and headquarters after reports surfaced that the new entity would be cut off from the reporting muscle of NBC News. Sources said, yeah, they're going to have to stand on their own, right? You're going to have to stand on your own, okay? No more assistance from Comcast, right? You're going to have to stand on your own. Lazarus told MSNBC staffers that he wasn't sure if the network would have to change its identity or its home, according to insiders. Quote, everyone is in panic because everything is up in the air, one MSNBC source told the Post. Quote, another insider close to the network added, quote, people don't really know what's going on. They had the election, holidays are coming up. People are tired and are just trying to get through. MSNBC declined to comment. Okay, yeah. So here's the deal. MSNBC is in the same boat as CNN now, right? CNN has had a decline in viewership for a while, okay? And they have issued massive layoffs. They basically gave up their headquarters in Atlanta, right? I mean, they've been selling off assets. They're struggling. MSNBC is now in the same boat, right? Because Trump derangement is not a viable business model anymore. What I would do if I was MSNBC, right? If I was an executive, okay, if I was actually running the place, if I was in charge of this new entity, if I was CEO, I would fire everybody at the network from top down. That's what I would do. I'm so serious. I would fire everybody, okay? I would change the name of the network, a complete and total rebrand, okay? Completely distance the new entity from the old entity, okay? And then I would go to some of the top talent in conservative media, okay? Like, for example, a Megyn Kelly, a Tucker. I would look at Scott Jennings at CNN, right? I would try to poach him. I would try to build a primetime lineup of centrist to conservative anchors to relaunch the network, right? And I also would go get some liberal anchors as well, too, right? I would not create a network that is solely just conservatives, right? I would actually try to create a network where there's balance. I will have shows where you have actual conservative anchors and liberal anchors, and they're both discussing topics from various perspectives. Straight news anchors as well, too. I'm talking about like actual, like just straight news journalists, mainly during the day, right? So during the day, you're going to be getting straight news. But in the evening time, right? I mean, again, this is the standard business model. You're going to get more of the opinion guys. But again, it's not going to be disguised as journalism, right? It's going to be like mainly a debate and discussion format in which all opinions, okay, will be platformed, right? Across the board. You're going to have hosts where you have a diversity of opinions, okay? From progressive to MAGA, okay? That is what I would do. But I would lead with my more conservative leaning host. That's what I would do, right? I would try to take on Fox News. Seriously, because the reason why Fox News is so successful is because they don't have much competition outside of Newsmax, right? But Newsmax doesn't have the same juice that the more traditional cable outlets like MSNBC or CNN have, and also focus heavily on an online presence, right? I mean, from day one, focus heavily online, okay, mimicking Piers Morgan, because Piers Morgan has figured out a very, very, very lucrative business model of having people from all across the spectrum on the show and just kind of going at it. And again, it's super successful. I mean, every video this dude puts out gets at least 1 million views, guaranteed, right? It doesn't matter who's on the panel, but the panelists are basically some of the top stars and political influencers on social media, right? So again, you can kind of do that same thing, but you just put it on cable and you focus heavily on distributing the content online, right? You make sure that your online presence is heavy across all platforms, X, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, right? That's what I would do personally, okay? If I was running the network, right? If I had to rebuild the brand from scratch. So I'm just saying, I'm available to the executives at MSNBC who are looking for ideas on how to make MSNBC great again, but it's not going to be cheap, right? My consulting fee is not going to be cheap, okay? It's not going to be cheap, right? It's going to cost you a lot, okay? It's going to cost you a whole lot, but I'm available if you want to make the platform an actual reputable platform where people can go and say, okay, I'm going to get opinions from across the spectrum, and I'm also going to get journalism as well too, right? You got to bring that back. Bring back old-fashioned journalism where you're just reporting straight news, okay? And, you know, you can still have your opinion commentary, have some diversity, right? Have some diversity, which is exactly what Fox News does. And that is the direction that they have to go in if they want to survive, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.